So you want to make a massive change financially, which is great, but how are you going to know where to start if you don't know what you're worth financially on paper? Let's talk about how knowing your net worth is the most important thing you'll ever need to know when it comes to your finances. Let's go. Hey everyone, it's Lewis back again with another video, and today I'm going to take you through exactly how to calculate your net worth and explain just exactly why it's the most important thing you need to know when it comes to your version of financial independence, however that may look. So first of all, what is net worth? Well, contrary to what most people think, it's not what you have in your bank account at any one time, and neither is it how much you make every single year in terms of your wages. Elon Musk, the world's richest man, doesn't have just almost $200 billion laying around at any one time. What it actually is what you own minus what you owe. It's your assets versus your liabilities. This basically means that your net worth is a wonderful measuring stick for exactly what you want to do with the money that you make every single year. Are you more cautious with it and over time increase your net worth by purchasing assets that appreciate in value and or pay you for owning them, which increases your financial security and freedom? Or are you a little more careless with it and over time decrease your net worth by throwing it away on liabilities that depreciate in value and lose you money, such as debt and other things like that? What your answer is doesn't just show on paper how much you're worth, it also completely could explain how you feel emotionally about money right now. If you hate it, chances are you're not respecting it as much as you can and you owe more than you own. If it's the opposite, you're on the right track. So diving a little deeper into the two, we're going to start with what an asset is. An asset is exactly what I said earlier. It's something that appreciates in value and or pays you for owning it. Also, an asset is something that you can turn into cash quickly when needed, or let's say relatively quickly when needed. It is different for different things, but this is also known as liquidity. Some of the best examples of personal assets today are shares in companies that are publicly traded, aka stocks, real estate such as homes, apartment buildings, flats, and even commercial real estate, digital assets like crypto, although this can come with a massive caveat in that I personally only really consider Bitcoin and Ethereum as assets in this field. There are plenty of opportunities in this space that will lose you money, and you have to be careful about this and keep your wits about you. And then there's even alternative assets like classic cars that actually appreciate in value. For example, a 1995 McLaren F1 or a 1989 Ferrari Testarossa. Other examples of alternative assets are timeless pieces of art from the likes of Gaudi, Da Vinci, and Rembrandt. You've also got high-end watches from the likes of Rolex, Audemars Piguet, and Richard Mille, and even classic wines and whiskies. And gold can also be considered an asset, as that grows over time, although nowhere near as much as the previously mentioned. But it's a great addition to any investment portfolio and a very good hedge against inflation. I mentioned in the start to this that assets can either grow in value over time, pay you for owning them, or both. The things that fall into the grow in value over time category are growth stocks that don't pay a dividend, and those alternative assets that I just spoke about. You can own a stock in a growth company like I do with Coinbase, for instance, as these companies are very dedicated in aggressively growing their business. So the stock of that company over time is going to perform, generally speaking, very, very well. Although because these companies are solely focused on growing their business, they don't pay out any of their profits to shareholders as dividends. It all goes back into the business and with that can grow the stock price. So it doesn't pay you a passive income to own it. The same can be said for owning a classic car or an expensive watch or bottle of wine. These alternative assets can be great for your net worth, as over time, some of these actually even outperform the stock market. But again, they just sit there, look pretty, and grow in value. They don't pay you anything in passive income for owning them. So the things that can fall into the pay you for owning them, and to be honest, both categories are dividend stocks, real estate, and crypto. If you so choose with crypto, it can be either one of the two. With dividend stocks, the companies are usually massive, gargantuan. I'm talking the biggest companies in the world in their field, such as Coca-Cola, Apple, Microsoft, Visa, and McDonald's. All of these companies are giants, and all of them pay out part of their annual profits as dividends to shareholders of those companies. So you will literally get paid a passive income just for owning those stocks. I currently own Discover Financial Services, and I get paid a dividend just for owning that stock. This isn't any financial advice, by the way. These are just examples of this type of asset. Please do your own research. But the same can be said for real estate. If you buy a couple of apartments, these will pay you a passive income from the rental income that you'll receive from tenants. And the same can be done for crypto if you stake it, which increases the speed of transactions on that respective blockchain and helps support the overall infrastructure of the network. When you stake crypto on the exchange, like crypto.com or Coinbase, for example, you will get paid a percentage of that amount that you stake. For example, I'm currently making 3% for staking my Bitcoin at the moment. I'm also staking some of my Ethereum on Coinbase as part of the Ethereum 2 network upgrade, and again I am receiving a passive income for that as well. And at the same time, all three of those examples of the assets themselves, the principal value of the assets, are growing in value over time. Even dividend stocks grow with how well the company does every year. The value of real estate is always growing and usually outpacing other asset classes, and so is crypto. Although crypto is easily the most volatile out of all of the three, so you do need a strong stomach for it. If you're new to crypto, it might be helpful to just open a very small portion of your portfolio to it to start off with, like 1 to 2% tops. This way, if it all goes to a complete zero, it's really not going to affect you at all in the long run. Okay then, so we know what assets are, so what are liabilities? Well, I mean, if you haven't figured it out by now, they're the complete opposite. It really is that simple, but we'll get into it right now. So these are things that you own that lose you money over time, or that, even worse, charge you money over time whilst you lose money at the same time. Essentially, they're a great asset for the company that loaned it out to you, but not for you personally. Like if you lease a car or purchase a couple of t-shirts or expensive trainers on buy now, pay later. These things do nothing for your net worth. They drag you right the way down. It's also any debt that you carry, such as credit cards, other loans, and maybe even money that you owe friends or family. The worst examples of liabilities, in my opinion, are credit cards. If you carry a balance on a credit card, there's a high chance that you're getting charged 20 to 30% interest on that balance. So not only do you owe a certain amount on the balance, the principal amount, you're getting charged extra just for holding that balance in terms of the interest. As you can tell, this is the complete opposite of if you owned a dividend stock that paid you for owning it and that the principal grew in value over time. The same can be said for my other examples in this category. Let's take that buy now, pay later example. You've spotted a pair of trainers that you really want, but you can't afford them. So being the irrational human being that you are, because we've all been there, because we're naturally irrational creatures, you spot that ASOS are providing Klarna as a payment option. So you take out a short-term loan where you can pay for the shoes in installments of 3, 6, 9 monthly payments, whatever it may be. And that also charges you a percentage of interest. So again, the item you've purchased, the trainers, will lose you money over time unless they're an ultra rare pair of Jordans or something that you don't intend on wearing. But not only that, you're being charged interest on the short-term loan that you took out to purchase them. This is what you need to avoid at all costs when it comes to keeping your net worth in the positive. Now, there's an age-old debate over a certain two things that are either an asset or a liability, and that is a car and a home. What are they? Asset or liability? Before we get into it, answer down below in the comments. Is a car and a home an asset or a liability? I'd love to know what you guys think. Right, so here's my opinion based on what I've just discussed on both of these categories that ultimately makes up your net worth. This is going to be a very interesting debate, I'm sure. So if something makes you money for owning it, aka if something grows in value over the length of time that you own it, then the clear definition for that thing should be an asset. You purchased it at a lower price than what you sold it for. That is, in simple terms, an asset, no matter what it may be. So if by some miracle the Fiat 500 that you purchased from new was sold to someone else for more money than you bought it for, it's an asset. But we don't live on cloud cuckoo over here. We're in the real world, It's clear that that won't happen. So unless you own a car that is ultra rare, or from a manufacturer that is highly distinguished, or own a car that has a legendary reputation, or a combination of all three, your car is absolutely not an asset. The 2016 Ford Fiesta that is sitting in your driveway isn't making you money, it's losing you money. But for some people, it is a necessity. Don't get me wrong. It always helps to regularly check the value of your car, and you can do this in the UK from highly reputable websites such as Auto Trader, so you can see exactly how much people are buying your car for on the open market. But I would bet that there's a good 95% of people out there who are car owners where their car is a liability over an asset. If you don't own a classic Ford Model T, for instance, or the other cars I mentioned previously, maybe even a Porsche 911, your car isn't making you money. I swear to God, it's not making you any money. And by the way, that's not just because of the type of car that you own. That's because that you may have decided to lease the car instead of buying it outright. So not only is the thing that you purchased with a 10% down payment losing you money as the thing itself, as soon as you drive it off of the forecourt, it's losing you even more money with the ridiculous interest rate that you're paying on it. And then there is the home. Now for me, the house is a little bit of a unicorn when it comes to the debate of asset versus liability. That's because it's actually both. When initially purchased, if purchased with a mortgage and not outright with cash, which, let's be completely honest, is something that a very small population of people can even do, then the house is a liability to begin with. That's because you put a deposit down on some of the value and are paying a mortgage on the rest of the value of your home, unfortunately with interest charges, no matter how small that might be. So you have to make monthly payments against that thing that is charging you an interest rate on those monthly payments. However, the more you pay into a home, the more that it becomes an asset over time. That's because, as we all know, homes, the brick and mortar that these things are built on, are incredibly valuable, and because of that are one of the best hedges against inflation. More than likely, they're always growing in value over time until they come crashing back down, aka 2008, and in my opinion, in my prediction, and I never really make predictions, but in my prediction, either 2022 or 2023, we're going to come crashing back down again. But the more you pay off your mortgage, the more equity that you put into your home over time. However, it's not a good thing to pay off your home early, but that's for another video. We'll discuss that later. But with that equity, you can take some of that out at any time for other purchasing opportunities that you might spot, for instance, in the stock market in order to keep the money growing. Or you might just want to take some of the equity out of your home to renovate the house or have something new in the garden, whatever it might be. So there you go. In conclusion, a car is a liability for 95% of car owners. The home starts off as a liability, but over time grows into an asset. Okay, so I've gone pretty deep into what your overall net worth is, but I feel like it's very necessary to do so as this is really important stuff, and I do think it is the most important thing to know when it comes to your personal finances. So now to work out your net worth. I mean, this is quite simple math. You literally add up all of your assets that you currently own, if any, and then minus your liabilities that you currently owe, again, if any. Whatever this amount equals, that is your net worth. And that is the absolute best measuring stick that you can possibly use to gauge exactly where you're at right now in your personal finances. Don't be distraught or even surprised if your net worth is negative to begin with. To be completely honest, this is normal if you've not ever really focused on your financial self previously, or you might be pleasantly surprised. And you may even, despite having a negative net worth, still be doing better than your average age group. Just so that you can know, I'll actually post a link down below to what the average net worth is for all age groups across the UK. It's really, really interesting reading and another great barometer in measuring how you can stack up against everyone else right now. And of course, I know myself, I'm a very competitive person. I know that there are other people out there who are also very competitive. So use this as a force for good to get yourself competing against each other and grow your net worth over time. And again, I'll post a link down below to what I personally use to calculate my net worth each and every month. Now, I do it every month because it's a great way to keep up with how I'm doing, and it holds me accountable for meeting and even beating my goals. So this year, one of my goals is to get my net worth to at least £50,000. And okay, If this video gets 20 likes, then I'll do another video unveiling my personal net worth currently. If you guys want to see that, give this video a thumbs up, let me know that you've watched all the way to this bit, and I'll do it next time. 20 likes and you're on. But anyway, the webpage that I use to calculate my net worth is from the brilliant folks at Bright Graham Murray Chartered Accountants here in the UK. Now, I am in no way affiliated with or by BGM. I'm not sponsored by them, but I just wanted to shine a light on their net worth calculator that for me easily outshines any other calculator that I've managed to find on the internet previously, so a massive shout out to them. As always, I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you'll now be able to understand exactly what your net worth is, which is so important, just so important in knowing where you want to be financially. How important do you think it is to know your net worth, and how often do you calculate it? Let everyone know down below in the comments. If you haven't already, consider subscribing for more money related content. I post videos every Monday and Friday at 6:30 PM UK time, so make sure to stick around for that. I hope you guys are having a great Jubilee bank holiday weekend and enjoying the sun as well right now. Also, make sure to follow me on all of my socials down below for even more. Get your free money and stocks using some of the links down below in the description. And remember, until next time, every quid counts. See you soon.